How is everyone doing today? It is Josh coming at you with another reaction here today. We got another video from Kurzgesagt. Dude, they are pumping these videos out. I want to start with that. They, for a while, were doing like, what, a video like a month, every 2 months. Like in a year, they would do like, I don't know, 8 videos or something like that. They're doing videos like every 2 weeks now. They must have a ton of people that work at the company now, which is crazy. Like they get these out. And I appreciate it. I do like having more content, but like, you know, they're not sacrificing the quality or anything in them either. So awesome. Good. More Kurzgesagt. It's just wild. Just not used to seeing it this fast. And they've come a long way. The original animations on the starting ones were definitely a lot more, you know, not very polished or anything like that. Nowadays, they're smooth and they look good. I want to see some birds though, man. I feel like I haven't seen very many birds in many of these. It's just been all about people dying and all these bad diseases and stuff. We don't get to see fun videos with birds. I know a few more fun videos, not just so many doom videos that we've been seeing. I don't think this could be one of them though, considering it's called How Nuclear Flies Protect You from Flesh-Eating Parasites. I mean, okay, well maybe, but probably not. So, but yeah, we'll see what this one's all about. That doesn't mean anything to me with that title, so we're gonna learn something new today. That's not what I said. We're gonna learn something new today. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and consider going down to my Patreon down below if you want to support me further. And with all that being said, let's get on into it.
Right now, 100 million
we sort of have birds.
radiation-blasted, flesh-eating flies are raining down over the jungles of Panama to commit a genocide that can never end. Their tiny bodies are rebuilding a wall of flesh that protects an entire continent. This is one of humanity's most successful wars, going on for over 50 years now, fought from Central America to the deserts of Libya.
Interesting.
Okay, so what's going on?
Agreed.
The unbeatable flesh-eating fly. We need to talk about one of the most terrifying parasites on Earth for a moment.
Okay.
Don't worry, we won't make it too gross. If you want to skip this part, jump to the next chapter.
Oh, okay.
Cochleomya hominivorax, which literally means the man-eater. The new world screwworm fly at home in the Americas.
Blah, blah, blah.
Each of these metallic blue-green flies with bright red eyes that exist in nature
is
so
here
because
cool.
it's
What?
feasted on the flesh of a warm-blooded animal. Cochleomya can detect wounds and smell blood across vast distances.
Oh, they're like sharks.
If a human, a deer, or a squirrel has the tiniest scratch, female screwworm flies will try to lay eggs in the wound. When they hatch, the worms start eating healthy flesh with sharp mandibles, causing horrible wounds, attracting even more flies. In serious cases, the animal will die, or at least be severely weakened. Cochleomya doesn't add anything positive to the world and is a natural enemy of ours. For most of history, this parasite was simply a horrifying fact of life in the Americas. And then we accidentally created a paradise for them. As farmers introduced millions and millions of cows to the vast expanses of the southern US, screwworms became a catastrophic problem and a source of endless suffering for our defenseless cattle. One outbreak might wipe out herds and lead to cruel, lingering deaths for countless animals in the wild.
Yeah, that's not good.
Traditional pesticides were useless against Cochleomya because you couldn't poison something that lived inside a living animal's flesh. You couldn't prevent animals from getting injured or flies from finding wounds.
Yeah.
The situation seemed hopeless, and Cochleomya was winning.
So what they do?
Ranchers had to spend countless hours examining their herds, treating wounds, trying to protect newborns, watching helplessly as their animals suffered. And then 2 scientists in the 1950s had an idea that was too wild to be taken seriously at first. What if we kind of nuke the screwworms? Radioactive parasite factories.
Okay, so what they do?
Screwworm flies have a major weakness. Female Cochleomya can lay up to 400 eggs multiple times. But they only mate a single time before they die at the ripe old age of 3 weeks. So what if we could somehow disrupt the mating process? What if we could flood the environment with sterile male flies? The females would waste their one and only chance at reproduction on males that couldn't produce offspring. An entire species could theoretically mate itself out of existence. But how do you sterilize millions of flies without killing them or making them too weak to compete for
That's a
mates?
great question.
Well, it turned out the timing to do this was kind of perfect.
Okay.
Scientists studying the effects of radiation had discovered that specific doses could damage reproductive cells while leaving the rest of an organism intact.
Sure, that part makes sense.
So all we needed to do was figure out how high this dose was for Cochleomya, breed millions of flies, irradiate them, and release them over thousands of square kilometers. Imagine explaining this idea
So they
to
made it
someone in
themselves. That's
1950.
so cool.
Imagine the scale of the damage and the suffering that Cochleomya caused.
Also,
for
that's
people to
crazy,
say,
man.
Okay, sure, let's
Like,
try this. Why not? To
you're
prove
making
this
a
could
whole
work,
breed
scientists
just to
built
kill off
screwworm
a whole, like,
paradise in Florida and
that's
shipped
wild.
millions of flies
It's
to the
hard to
remote
even think
island
about
of
it.
Curacao.
It's like, you know, you could do
Long
people if you
trays
want
were
to. You can make
filled with
clones of
ground
people and
beef
have them
horse meat, animal
infect
blood,
the entire,
milk, and
like a
eggs.
different planet or
Thousands were
something.
bred, irradiated, and released into the wild in regular intervals. As the weeks and months
Wild.
passed, more and more of the Cochleomya on the island were infertile and mated with regular ones. First slowly, and then suddenly, they were no more. Completely eradicated. It was time to think much bigger.
Huh.
Over the next few decades, a war was declared and professional worm factories established to breed them by the billions.
Huh.
A single plant in Texas alone needed 70 tons of meat and 12,000 gallons of blood to breed 150 million flies per week. The disgusting mix had to be kept warm because they had to believe they were inside a living animal.
Oh, that's
This
so
lovely
weird.
process made the insects smell so bad that airlines initially refused to transport them.
Ugh.
Their transport boxes had to be sprayed with cologne just to get them on planes. Bit by bit, in a
That's awesome.
slow-moving wave of biological warfare, the program eradicated screwworms. First from Florida, then across Texas, through Mexico, and into Central America.
Of course.
Every step
Gotta
required
start with the
billions
US.
of sterile flies, massive coordination,
I mean, if it's made in
and
the US, it makes
unwavering
sense.
dedication from thousands of workers. It was an incredible victory of humanity.
It's cool.
over
I've
the
never heard of
horrors
this before.
nature. In 1988, the war suddenly became global, and for the first time ever, screwworms escaped to Africa.
Oh, that's not
The
good.
stakes were astronomical. If not stopped immediately, flesh-eating Cochleomya could move down the Nile Valley, around the North African coast, and conquer regions where medical care was scarce
Yeah.
or non-existent.
Yeah, that would be
The
bad.
potential suffering was incalculable. To stop this invasion, a Herculean operation was triggered immediately.
This thinks me.
Hundreds of
thinks me.
millions
This makes
of
me
sterile
think of
flies
the
were flown in. Ground teams
board game
inspected
Pandemic.
millions of animals
You ever
for
played that?
wounds. Communication
You have all the
campaigns
different,
explained to locals
different
why
roles you
planes
have to
were
pick,
dropping
and then you have
boxes
to
full of millions of
spread the
flesh-eating American flies.
cure around the world.
But it worked.
It's a cool game.
In just 4 months, the invasion was stopped.
Kind of tricky.
But Cochleomya still held a firm grip over the Amazon rainforest and much of South America. An area too large, politically complicated, and expensive to expand the war further. So a deal was made with Panama, the narrowest part of the continent. The US and Mexico would pay for a wall of flesh in the small country. It would prevent any screwworms from reaching the north ever again. Today, deep in Panama, a nuclear worm factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, producing an endless stream of sterile flies. The technology has come a long way from the early days. Instead of ground meat, a brown protein sludge made from powdered blood, milk, and eggs is piped into trays stacked in rooms kept at exactly the same temperature as living tissue.
Huh.
Thousands of flies are then carefully irradiated with precise doses of radiation, creating Cochleomya that act normal but are dead inside. Each week, 100 million flies are loaded
so
into
interesting.
rotating dispersal machines to be released mid-flight in a finely tuned balance of drop rate, speed, and altitude. The flight paths are separated by precisely 1.6 kilometers in a choreographed aerial ballet, creating an invisible wall of sterile flies. Surveillance teams cover some of the most remote and challenging terrain to check animals for injuries and monitor for any sign of screwworm activity. Unfortunately, right now, the wall is failing and the war against Cochleomya is far from over. Cochleomya strikes back.
Oh no.
In 2016, Cochleomya somehow made their way back to the Florida Keys, turning the Paradise Islands into a nightmare. Key deer were suddenly walking around with gaping wounds. Millions of sterile flies were rushed in from Panama, creating a front around the outbreak and beginning the eradication again. Within months, the invasion was at least contained.
Okay.
And in late 2023, the wall in Panama failed, and Cochleomya struck back immediately.
Oh shit.
Like a parasitic firestorm on speed, it spread again all over Panama and Costa Rica. burning through Central
Wait, how
America
did it break?
and
What
even
happened?
reaching Mexico. The worm factory now produces sterile worms at maximum capacity. It's a real biological emergency, and it's not clear when it will be over. One day, we might be able to win the war against this horrible monster. We did so before, and other parasites.
That's
have
a
been
really
eradicated
cool
from much of
reference.
the
Nice
world, or
Independence Day
even
reference.
entirely. So if you find yourself in Central America and see a low-flying plane overhead, maybe you're witnessing another day in one of humanity's most unusual wars. A war we can never stop fighting and can't afford to lose.
That's so interesting. No, animals aren't making the video, yes. But animals in the video that were being talked about were definitely harmed quite a bit. So, damn. That's such an interesting bit of, like, knowledge that just got dropped. Like, never heard about any of this stuff before. Never heard of Panama. What the hell is that? No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I mean, that seems like a big problem. They came up with a very interesting solution to the problem of just, hey, let's cover them with smallpox and spread them all over the place. Oh, no, sorry, that's a different American solution that we've done in the past. But, yeah, not something that we're unfamiliar with because of that. So, yeah, I mean, I say you gotta do what it takes. I mean, I don't know how else you're supposed to deal with it. Because, I mean, if it's just a whatever thing, if it's like mosquitoes, like, they're annoying, but, like, you're not getting rid of them. But for this, it's, you know, causes actual problems with the animals and whatnot, and it could potentially infect humans and stuff like that with their parasites. So definitely makes sense you need to get rid of them. But what a wild solution to it. And they immediately, in 1950, they're like, let's do radiation. That's like right after all the nukes and stuff started being made. And they're like, you know what? Let's see how far we can push this radiation. They immediately, that's their solution to come up with. That's so cool. How fast how technology just moves so fast sometimes when it's like an urgent matter. Wild. Wild, wild, wild. Well, that was an interesting video. Definitely still a little morbid and not great. I want to see something a little more happy in one of these future videos. Maybe just another space one. Well, space ones, I think they got through a lot of happy topics in space, but still. Fun stuff. Thanks for sticking around, guys, though. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.